Alright. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Salt Mines. It is a return to absolute insanity. For those of you who recognize the name on screen, you realize that you're in for something special. We've got SK Trashcan right here, the psychopath from the very first episode of Salt Mines. They're up against Medem in the top right. It says, yo, have fun, in response to the greetings from Trashcan. Now, for those who don't remember Trashcan was in the very first replay of the first episode, complaining about Zerg vs. Zerg being an imbalanced matchup. The opponent pointed out that Zerg vs. Zerg is a mirror matchup. How the hell can that be imbalanced? And Trashcan started rambling about, well, scissors, paper, rock is apparently the same tools as well, yet it's the most imbalanced thing in the game, imbalanced game in the world, because rock has no counter. That is the word, the phrase, sorry, that will live in infamy in my brain, literally forever. Like, rock has no counter. I still hear it echoing in my brain, and I still kind of stroke my chin and go, what insanity do you have to live in to think that? No, they've already started complaining about Zerg vs. Terran. Zerg vs. Terran never fun, says Trashcan. Either. Medem says, I don't know, it's actually quite fine for me. Terran is actually D-level. It will be an easy win for me. Like, super one-sided. Wow, Trashcan, bring out the big boy smack talk. Or you're a 200 APM smurf. Okay. Alright, so Trashcan is both insulting the opponent and smack talking, whilst also setting themselves up an excuse for when they lose. Trashcan, definitely a master complainer. If you're a 200 APM smurf, it would make it impossible for me to win. Well, I struggle with every racer, every race except against Terran, says Madam. It would make the game super one-sided if you're a 200 APM smurf. So Trashcan is clearly a very intelligent human, very cool. Literally, my ZVZ and ZVP win rates are 80%. But wait, I thought maybe Trashcan figured out that paper exists and you actually can counter rock in Zerg vs. Zerg. Apparently their ZVZ win rate's gone up. It's either that, or they're being a bit facetious and they're just always complaining about stuff and making things up game to game. I mean, to be fair, that last one was early 2022. It's like a year and a half ago now, so that's going to be really interesting. My ZVT is like 10%. Well, with this opening, I can see why, mate. This looks like something you would do in a ZVZ or ZVP in Wings of Liberty. 14-14 into expand. The Terran race smurfs the most. I mean, of course, we're up against the 80 APM player, so we've already done the check. We already know your opponent isn't smurfing, but they built a command center on the high ground, so Trashcan's like, damn. Turns out if they SCV scout and they see that I've taken a really early gas pull, they're not going to build their command center on the low ground. But we're going to rush Burrow. Really? We're going to... Oh my god. Troll builds abound, guys. Now, don't get me wrong. If you get Burrow under there, it's so good versus, say, a Protoss player who's gone Twilight, doesn't have a Robo or Stargate for detection. Terran has this cheeky little thing called an orbital command center. They can drop a scan. So even if you block that base, they can just reveal it. Also, a Baneling Nest is on the way. And damn, this hatchery is late. This is some truly special StarCraft. Now, Medem, knowing they're playing against someone who's clearly insane, has decided to check for corner bases, which I think makes perfect sense. You're like, I don't know what the hell's going on. This game is weird. Build a bunker, check for hidden bases, and just kind of slowly macro up behind it. Starport's on the way. Factory's getting ready to get on the reactor to build some Hellions, which will counter the Zerglings very nicely. And it looks like Queens are injecting at home. Now, to be fair, Trashcan scared the opponent quite enough that they could macro out of this. I say could, because they've already made Burrow. They've got Zerglings on the other side of the map. And I have a feeling we are going to see the most flaccid attack of all time, because they're not really producing very well. Reaper's going to come in, sees a Baneling Nest, sees 2 gases on 1 base. I mean, you're going to have a lot of gas. What are you going to do? Turn all 8 Zerglings into Banelings? Not exactly a fearsome move. An inject goes down in the main, an inject on the natural. 6 lava is just sitting there, and we are not using it. Trashcan's macro is truly something beautiful to behold. I love that Venom's like Barracks Depot Bunker. This is the safest expand of all time. Trashcan's going to try and attack the SCV, does have to back away there. And we didn't even use Burrow to block the command center, even though we had it done in time. The Lings are going to run in after the Hellions. They actually managed to get us around on them, and they kill... No, not even a single Hellion goes down. 200 plus APM Smurf. Can't. That's it. That's it. You run 8 Speedlings in at 4 minutes 20. And when they do any response at all, it means they must have 200 APM and be a Smurf. I mean... The delusion is unreal. This player, I mean, it almost just seems like a joke, but I have evidence that this isn't a joke. And seeing the name here has prompted me. It's reminded me that I saw something absolutely insane the other week, and I actually haven't had a chance to talk about it. So let's go take a look at some evidence that Trashcan is either a master troll or completely insane. All right, so we're hopping over to the Team Liquid forum, and someone linked this to me maybe a month ago, and I saw it, and I've just pieced together, because I remember thinking, like, after a while looking at this thread that the name was familiar, and I was like, and then it kind of dawned on me. Someone was like, wait, isn't that the guy from the salt mines? And I was like, no way. And it is SKT Trashcan on the Team Liquid forum back in June of this year, posted this thread. I want to host a StarCraft 2 league. And this might be one of the craziest threads I have ever seen posted on Team Liquid. Stick with me for this. This is good. They said, hello, I'd like to host an SC2 league for money. I made a document to explain the house rules. I would welcome some feedback. Thanks, guys. All right, so if we click into the document here for the house rules, let's have a quick read of these and see how awesome this tournament is. 0. Preface. The point of this league is to avoid playing on the default StarCraft 2 ladder. There are too many bad players who ruin the fun of laddering. My main concerns are high APM players. When your APM is high enough, then you can consistently micro and get more value out of your units, but either they lack all other skills and are stuck in a lower league, or they artificially lower their MMR by insta-leaving a couple of games in a row. This is kind of just smurfing, right? They're just saying they're smurfs, but specifically they're just really stupid. But like, if you're higher APM than me, it's unfair because you can beat me while being stupider than I am. It's like this weird, like it's very evident of the sort of smudgy thinking that a lot of these people have. Next point. Smurfs. Players who have a much higher MMR on an alternate account or with a different race and then try to improve their off race. They often, but not always, have higher APM than normal or can outperform a regular opponent at critical moments in the game due to their experience. Now don't get me wrong, Smurfs are totally shit, but there's different stuff. Like, just because someone's off racing, they will be better at some skills because they're mechanically a bit better. Like, if you're playing someone who's Diamond 1, they're playing in like Platinum 1, say, they're going to be way better at certain micro than most Platinum 1 players, but their builds are going to suck, and that's why they're hanging out in Platinum 1, because they rarely play that race, and they kind of suck at it. But this is the player who, like, always tunnel visions on the one, like, thing that they're doing really well, because they're, like, microing a Reaper really well, and they go, this is just unfair. What can I possibly do? They have higher APM than me. This is unwinnable. Ignoring the fact that the guy who's microing the Reaper, this Smurf, has got 2,000 minerals in the bank that they're not spending. Thirdly, trolls. Players who deliberately use strategies with a relatively low win chance. That's what trolling is? For example, but not limited to, turtle builds, proxies, or low economy, micro-intensive openings that can kill quickly or lose quickly, depending on who executes the micro better. Okay, so in other words, anyone who plays a strategy that I don't like playing against is therefore a troll. My feeling is that this isn't an issue for Masters players, since smurfing and trolling is much more difficult at this level. My hypothesis is that prominent players and casters in the community are blind to this issue or severely underestimate the problem. My solution is to create a 100 APM league where genuine players can play. Genuine players? I am so convinced that this could be fun that I am willing to use some of my own money to attract good players. I love this, like, this we've already got so much insight into SK Trashcan. Bad player, anyone that does anything I don't like. And good player, people who play within a very narrow set of constraints that I think is actually playing StarCraft. Oh, this is perfect. All right, we got to get into these rules. The player requirements. 1.1. To be eligible to play in the league, a player must be compliant with all requirements established in this rulebook. Players that have not reached the age of 18 years at the time for applying must have written permission. Players are responsible for their own hardware, software, and internet connection. Matches will not be rescheduled because of technical issues. All players are responsible to have a connection ping as good as possible. All games will be hosted on the EU server. For an orderly and pleasant game, it is essential that all players have a sportive and fair attitude. Unpleasant behavior includes, but is not limited to, pausing the game. I mean, if you're spamming the pause button, I get it, but just general pausing, it's like, okay. Using chat, except for using chat at the start or end of the game to good luck, have fun, or equivalent, or to concede. Hold on a second. We've got so many examples of you spamming chat the whole time. But that's because they're playing against unfair opponents on the ladder, right? Even though they always start talking crap before the opponent even shows anything. But here in this safe space environment, they'll finally be able to not flame their opponents because it'll actually be a moderated environment. Sure, trash can. I'd love to see it. Trolling, which they don't define, they just say trolling if you're trolling. And we've already seen their description of trolling from above was literally people who do any build they don't like. If you play a low economy build, proxy, or do a turtle build, or use anything with a lot of micro, therefore you're trolling. Not playing your best game on purpose, king-making or match fixing. King-making doesn't make sense. This is a 1v1 StarCraft tournament from what I can tell, or league. King-making is when the player who is if there's more than 2 players, if you're like going to lose a board game, but you can sabotage the player who's winning and then help the person who's coming second win, that would be king-making, right? I don't know if there's an explanation of king-making in a 1v1 format. That's just, I mean, you can sacrifice the game. That's just match fixing, though. I don't really know how king-making could ever apply to a 1v1 format. Let me know in the comments if there's an explanation for that. Refusing to resign a lost situation. Oh, no. So, like, this is like one of these people where they'll be like, you a down 20 supply and you didn't GG? We're going to give you a friggin' penalty for this. You're going to be kicked out of the tournament. How dare you? And you're like, have you ever heard of a comeback? They're like, no. It was impossible. This is the kind of person who gets angry when they're watching a tournament and they see a player hang in and try to make a comeback. Oh my god, this is so stupid. Not showing up on time for a game, fair enough. That's actually reasonable. Cheating or using hacks, mods, or macros, fair enough. Hey, there's a couple of rules in there that make sense. All right, a player must play with their own game account. The usage of alternate accounts, smurfs, barcodes, borrowed accounts is not allowed, fair enough. Potential players will apply by application form. When their application is approved, details on the next steps will be communicated. Next steps will include paying a deposit, sending a copy of a passport or EU ID card, and if necessary, written permission from a legal guardian with a copy of the guardian's passport or EU ID card. Sending the application form counts as an intention to complete the next steps as well. Oh my god, this is crazy. Game account requirements. The game account must have at least 500 ladder games played in 1v1, have a normal name, no barcodes, be at least 6 months old, and have one clear preferred race based on the ladder game. So you can't... If you have 2 races that are around the same MMR and around the same number of games played, you are not allowed to play in this tournament. You also must have a season average of 100 plus minus 10 APM for Protoss or Terran, or 110 plus minus 20 APM for Zerg. What? Wait. Let's get in here. So Trashcan is actually below, and Medem is just inside the plus 10% average APM threshold. So this 200 plus APM Smurf trash can. Sorry to say, this person actually is within the APM requirements of your league. And you're actually, you should have lowered it, mate. You're even lower than that. League, there is space for 9 players, 3 spaces for Protoss, 3 spaces for Terran, 2 spaces for Zerg, because trash cans are Zerg. So they want 9 players in this league. The organizer will play Zerg. Playing random or changing races is not allowed. The players will play 2 games against each other. Each player may pick one map to play on. The maps used for the league are Ancient Cistern, Dragon Scales, and Grassford. Oh my god, so they don't even let you veto maps? Oh, it's just I pick a map, you pick a map. Look at the way this is written. This is so bizarre. The first player will pick the first map. The game will be played. Regardless of the outcome, the second player can then pick the second map. That game will also be played. Why do we need to state that game will be played? This is so friggin' weird. Games will not exceed 25 minutes playtime. A game will be stopped at the 25-minute mark. The winner will be determined by the organizers. He just gets to pick who wins if the game goes to 25 minutes. It is possible to rule the game a draw. It is possible for you to rule the game a draw since you're choosing. Both players will send both replays for their files to the organizer. What? No, I've actually done, I do a viewer tournament where we stop the games at 25 minutes. There's a setting in game where you can make it game duration 25 minutes. And what it does is it automatically stops and decides the game based on who's ahead in points, which is not a perfect system. But because we do a Swiss format, we need a full round to finish to get everyone matched up for the next round. And it's just a best of one. It allows the tournament to run really smoothly. And it's a compromise we have to make, due to time constraints, right? And I don't think maybe once it's happened ever. Very rarely do you have, you know, average shows going past 25 minutes in a tournament game, right? And it just stops two players from holding up everyone else's day and wasting their time. But I don't know why you would do this. This is just absolutely crazy. Okay, they've got a full league schedule. Is this just trolling? Who would put this much effort into trolling? So this is what I'm talking about. I'm so curious reading this because I'm like, okay, this person's just like a master troll. But like, what? They've put so much effort into this document. Look at this schedule. The league schedule looks like this. Monday, 8:15. Match 1, Zerg 2 versus Terran 1. Zerg 3 versus Protoss 3. Terran 2 versus Protoss 2. I'm sorry, wait. Didn't they say earlier the games cannot be rescheduled or something like that? This is absolutely insane. They also haven't mentioned time zone. I imagine it's Central European time, but from their lack of awareness, they could be in the UK and just assuming everyone knows it's UK time. They could be on friggin', you know, Russia time, Eastern European time. This is wild. The first player will create a lobby somewhere between 5 minutes before and 0 minutes before the start of the game, and then invite the second player. The second player will join before the start of the game. Look at these like ultra specific rules. Like if you don't host the game in those 5 minute period, like you've broken the rules. Oh my god. A loss will count as 0 points, a draw is 1, and a win is 2 points. At the end of the league, the best player is the player with the most points. Maximum APM allowed per game is 110 for the first 5 minutes of the game for Terran or Protoss, 120 for the first 5 minutes of the game for Zerg. The game lasts longer than 5 minutes. The maximum is increased with 10 per additional 5 minutes. How are you going to keep track of this? How? Everybody has massively varying APM. If you're going a Zergling style versus a Roach style, your APM is so much higher. Marines versus mech, so much higher. This is so dumb. So example, in a 25-minute game for ZVT, the Terran player should not exceed 150 APM and the Zerg player should not exceed 160 APM. This is so friggin' silly. This person's obsession with APM is really funny. Like, it's always funny because people like talk about APM a lot, and we've always said like it doesn't really matter. Really, there's really good players in GM who don't have very fast APM. They just do things efficiently and in an organized fashion. But there's always people who like, they love to look at the most flashy, obsessive number and be like, there's no way I can win this. You have 20 more APM than me. How can I possibly compete with that? And it's like, you look at their game and everything is wrong strategically and just decision-making wise. Speed is not what's holding them back, but they're like, it's the speed. That's the one thing. That's why I can't get better, man. And you're like, oh God, you're so stupid. All right, guys, let's look at the penalties. Oh, this is going to be good. The penalties in this beautiful authoritarian league that we all want to sign up for. 1.4 penalties. Pausing the game for the first time, game is lost. Pausing the game for the second time, game is lost, and 3 penalty points. Pausing the game for the third time, immediate disqualification from the league. If you use chat, except for using chat at the start or end of the game, so good luck, have fun. Or to concede, it's the same as pausing. Oh my god. Not hosting or showing up on time for a game, same as pausing. Trolling, cheating, using hacks, mods, macros, other misbehavior, immediate disqualification for the league. Now, that makes perfect sense, except for the last line. Or other misbehavior? You haven't even defined what that means. Any other misbehavior, just basically, I can do whatever I want. This is insanity. Not playing your best game on purpose, king making or match fixing. When beyond reasonable doubt, immediate disqualification. When there is reasonable doubt, a warning is given. However, when it occurs again, it is considered beyond reasonable doubt. Wait. So basically, it's like, you know, we have a look. It has to be beyond reasonable doubt. That makes perfect sense. You know, we've got the standard of evidence here and stuff. But if there's if it happens once, the next time where there's anything suspicious, it's automatic disqualification from the league because you already used up your reasonable doubt. So you get a single beyond reasonable doubt card, and once that's gone, you are just disqualified for anything that's considered not playing your best play. Oh my lord, I love it. If you refuse to resign a lost situation for the first time, warning. Refusing to resign a lost situation for consecutive times, 3 penalty points. Oh my god, this is just so funny. Exceeding the maximum APM by over 20%, immediate disqualification for the league. If you exceed the maximum APM by 0 to 20%, option 1, the opponent's APM is over 85% of the maximum, the game is declared lost for the player with the highest relative APM. Option 2, the opponent's APM is less than 85% of the maximum. The exceeding player is immediately disqualified from the league. Okay, so basically, if the opponent is close to their maximum APM as well, it's like, okay, it wasn't that big of an advantage, so you just lose the game. Whereas if the opponent's below the 85% maximum APM and you still went up above 20%, you were just disqualified from the league because you held down rapid fire or you know, you queued up a big round of Zerglings or something like that. This is so dumb. Oh my god. Financial. Players will be considered a participant of the league after paying €50 deposit. Players who finish the league with greater than 0 points get €55 back. Wow, so you get €5 just for playing as long as you win at least a single map. Well, actually, no, because he could just penalty point you below 0 points very easily. Disqualification forfeits the €50 deposit. In addition, the number 1, number 2, and number 3 players receive an extra €5 for finishing in the top 3. If the 2 best players haven't played against each other agree to doing a show match, they will receive an additional €5 for playing and an additional €5 for winning. This is so ridiculous. Oh my god. So basically, guys, if you win this whole league, you give them €50, evidence of your identity, and all this stuff, and at the end of it, you could come away €10 the richer. Wow. Or more likely, you just lose all your money. You know what's insane as well, guys, is they actually hate Zerg vs. Zerg and stuff, but they actually have set up mirror matchups. Protoss vs. Protoss, Terran vs. Terran, Terran vs. Terran, Zerg vs. Zerg. So they will actually have to play Zerg vs. Zerg in their own league. Interesting. But maybe if their opponent's not a Smurf, it'll be okay. Maybe they've figured out how to counter rock with paper. Who knows? All right, so we got to look at the response on the thread. Zakata says, this screams scam to me. So you get $5 for finishing the tournament, and if you get top 3, another $5. This is on top of a $50 entry. So why are you paying $50 for a $10 potential? I thought you would at least win the sum or a fraction of the sum of the entry fees combined, but no. The $50 you spend will simply go back to you at the end of the tournament, barring disqualification. So why pay it in the first place? I don't even get it. This is to prevent trolls or flaking players. It's €50 investment, and if you're a decent players, you will get €55 after 2 weeks. That's a solid investment. However, if you're the typical player I meet on ladder, then you're guaranteed to lose your €50. So hopefully these types of players will not sign up. Yeah, well, when you've literally put so many rules in that allow you to disqualify people for literally any reason, yeah, the typical player you meet on ladder, literally any other StarCraft player, you will only be happy in a league playing against bots that like are programmed to do the same strategy over and over again and literally put up with your incessant whining. This player is just bananas. Sorry for being blunt, but everything about this is just bizarre. I have no idea why you would put so many arbitrary limitations. Example, players must have around 100 APM. I think you might want to pause for a moment and think about how you can bring players into your league in the first place rather than a convoluted way to keep unwanted players out. You can deal with bad actors once there's anybody at all to deal with. Mind James dropping the absolute knowledge bomb there on SK Trashcan is like, you might want to focus on getting players in rather than keeping players out. Oh man, hitting the nail on the head right there. It's like you can put 50 different rules to keep all the wrong players out, but you're gonna realize literally no one wants to play your league. An anonymous randomized ladder system is the only reason people want to play games with you. Nakajan says, I applaud the work going into it, but to be honest, I wouldn't touch it. You want 10 people to wire you €50 and their official identity papers? Why? On the promise that you will pay them back at some point, except if you decide to disqualify them, in which case you just keep the money. Especially with the multiple conditions around what you consider a good game. I really would not be comfortable giving you that kind of money. If you're honest and not literally scamming €500 out of people, I would worry that 2 weeks into it, I would have to fight endlessly to get my cash back because you decided my APM is too high or you don't like my playstyle, so you just get to take all my money. Frankly, I'm not sure many people will get on board. How about you check out the Platinum Heroes or Cranky Ducklings Discord channel? They have an active community of players, many skill levels, interested in play in a more welcoming environment than the latter. I think they have leagues too. Look at this goddamn positivity from Nakajan, trying to kind of, adopt SK Trashcan into some positive communities. Luxon here says, exceeding the maximum APM by over 20%, immediate disqualification from the league. Imagine winning all your games, but you accidentally queued up too many drones or did one extra warp in, so you forfeit $50. I'm actually holding a tournament too. 10k to enter, but if your game doesn't end exactly at 9 minutes 52 and you have exactly 1,024 resources lost, then I keep your entrance fee. Otherwise, I'll pay you $10. DM me if you want a spot. The responses are really funny. Okay, here we go. So Papa Ben is like, hey, by the way, I hover at 4k MMR and I average just under 400 APM on average. I had a higher APM than Cyril when we played in a tournament. He obviously won the series and the whole tournament, but nobody is confusing me as the better player. On the other hand, there were successful pro players with less than 100 APM like Goody. Efficient APM per minute, efficiency per minute, or efficient APM would be a much better metric if you want to go down this path. But even APM or micro or a mechanic in the game you seem to refer to as a gimmick in the past doesn't win games. Can you clarify if you mean the average APM in the game or a particular APM spike? And how is APM defined for you? If you were to host an event like this, I would recommend finding a mod that displays current and average APM to the players in the game. Check this out. By the way, in the last 10 ladder games recorded on SC2 replay stats that does not involve an auto leave, you have 5 games where you exceeded 100 APM, 110, 118, 127, 111, 102. Of the remaining 5 games where you were below 100 APM, 95, 79, 96, 93, 79, 3 of those were below the 5-minute mark. I think your requirements are fairly well tailored to your stats, but you might need to tweak it up a little bit more. Otherwise, you're on the risk of having to DQ yourself. Question, do you get your deposit back if you are disqualified yourself? Wouldn't that be so good if this league somehow got players in it and the guy who invented it literally had to disqualify themselves? What do they have to donate the money to charity? Do they give it to the winner of the tournament? Watch Lulu picked up on the 25-minute rule of the game ending and just said, you can't be serious about this. Just started laughing. Oh my god. Thor's Hammer says, hey, to prevent trolls? Wait, are you not a troll? You played a friend of mine. Your comments when you lost were get cancer runt. Yep, I'm pretty sure people will be lining up to join your clown tournament, buddy. This is the funniest shit I've ever read. Guy is trolling, not to be taken seriously. Got a challenge link. May's like, maybe I can make a mod that limits the APM. Oh my god. People just tearing it up. And kind of on another topic, Gemini said this is the funniest shit I've ever read. Meisenhower said, no, not as funny as this. Pulled out a comment from 2017 and they said, I actually find Boxer getting dominated and emasculated by his wife a lot more apology needing than savior. Boxer actually let his fans down by letting a woman make decisions for him. 2017 was truly something. Wow, that's a twist. That's a twist on the thread. All right, let me know, everybody. Would you sign up for this league? If you want to, definitely go on Team Liquid and sign up. I know this thread was from a while ago, but I just remember glimpsing this thread, and this gave me the impetus seeing this game to go through and actually read the entire rule set for it, and it was even better than I could possibly imagine. Let me know if you guys want to sign up. We'll get in contact with SK Trashcan. We can get this league going. Maybe I can cast the whole thing and see if any games actually finish without a player getting disqualified. It should be fantastic. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you in the next episode of the Salt Mines. Goodbye and good night.